His Majesty, first of his name, Fulig Jimmy's Diary, Part 6.
Dated today in the year of my reign, writ by my own royal hand in Almira Town, our majestic capital. You get used to writing dated on top. Always gotta write that. 'Cause now Sir Egmont done explained to me that the date matters. Me being a former sailor, I always thought all directions matter. East, west, whatever wind you got. But here, customs is different. What can you do? Now, I ain't even said yet why I'm writing this diary. See, it started back on the ship. His Majesty was nervous about disembarking and said he hopes everything goes smooth. Hope nobody here would recognize him. What he didn't know is that 'cause Warren's escaped, Sir Egmont was coming too, and he does know him. I know this 'cause nobody else knows the real truth. Just Egmont and the Queen. And they both knew me from I was a little kid, so they know they never seen me before. So what's the point? Why don't the others know? The firemen, the Hidalgo, and the whole Mornin family bunch. 'Cause they don't know. I saw it clear as day when I first sat my royal behind on the throne wearing the marshal's uniform. On my left chest, a saucer with a green star covered in fake diamonds, golden string, a whole thick gold rope, and golden shoulder flowers. I even rolled me a cigarette right there. They looked at me like I was a lightning bolt out of nowhere. Only the Queen and Sir Egmont, whom I know from way back, smiled. "The king," said the Queen to the mourning kinfolk, "said he'll lead by example in thriftiness, just like the King of England recommended. That's why His Majesty rolls his own cigarette and smokes it ceremoniously upon the throne." "Exactly," I said, and pulled out my lighter from behind the saucer. It just sparked like mad when I clicked it. I go, "Dang, Flint's busted!" And the bridgeman twitched his shoulders twice, like he was doing some kind of pride dance. But Egmont gave me fire with a match and said, "Now we shall solemnly observe His Majesty's symbolic thrift smoke." Everyone stood at attention. I'm telling ya, who can smoke under that kind of pressure? All them staring with their heads up like pigeons watching an airship. I took a few puffs, then dropped the cig and stomped it out like a gentleman, since the throne rug probably wouldn't handle a burn mark real nice. Two of them started hiccuping, and Egmont goes, "His Majesty has hereby trampled extravagance. The ceremony is concluded." See, this was the next day, 'cause the day after coronation there's always a circly. I didn't know at first what kind of musical instrument that was, but now I get it. A circly ain't eating or drinking. It's when the monarch walks around and asks everyone how they are and what's new, but don't actually care, and then sits on the throne and listens to reports. That's the circly. It's a nice little dance, but pointless. I might cancel it. After the circly, Sir Egmont hung back and told me I gotta protect my royal dignity. Said I shouldn't smoke on the throne. I said fine, I won't. Then he left me there. Only the Queen Mother was still there, looking at me with them sad, sad eyes. I knew what she wanted. She had to pretend I was her son, the king, and try to find out what happened to her real son. A mother's a mother, whether she's a queen or a barmaid. I felt it. She asked, "Did you meet a local citizen aboard the ship?" I understood I ain't dumb. Yes, we traveled together. The man you're thinking of was cheerful, healthy, and loves his mama dearly, whose brother I know from way back. "Did you see him disembark?" she asked. "No, ma'am. Right before docking, I went down below to go torment a stowaway real good." "Really?" "Yup. There was a guy in a crate, and I stacked even more crates on top so he'd be real upset, 'cause he won't get out till the next day when the workers unload." "That's unpleasant," she said. "He deserves it," I replied. "The man's name is Dirty Alfred the Captain." Then suddenly, she fainted.
His Majesty, first of his name, Fulig Jimmy's Diary, Part 7.
Dated once again in the year of my majestic reign, from the capital, personally signed by me up top. Almaraville. Still didn't explain what got me writing this diary in the first place. It was that real San Antonio fellow what started it before he turned into me and I turned into him via change in identities. Said I'd have a grand old time, just gotta watch the state marriage and keep my nose clean. Well, he was wrong. Being king ain't hard, just boring. Dull as a damp biscuit. Though the palace rooms sure are pretty, I've been to a few countries but never had digs this nice. Today they held the so-called Crown Council. I had to go. In the dome room, they all showed up. The firemen, Egmont, the Mornin relatives, and Gomp Pretzel, the Hidalgo. Now balder than ever. Didn't even have a hat no more. They said I had to preside. Bad news because my foot was all blistered up. See, I didn't think about the royal shoemaker making new shoes based on the old ones, Mr. Gould's. But a king's gotta have 2 pairs of shoes. 3 if he rules a bigger land. That's called luxury. These ones were tight, and after 2 days of wearing them, my feet were blistered like a boiled sausage. Plus, they were made of this stuff called lacquer, what's really just shiny, stiff leather. Then Egmont stood up and said they wanted to pass a law about succession, so if anything happens to me, the crown can go down the maternal line. Said it needed to be scaled, which I guess means made official. I told him, nothing ever happens to me. But he goes, still, succession law is not officially scaled. Man, my foot was burning like a cannonball on a stove. And I didn't want to sign stuff I don't understand. That's what the king told me. So I said, this ain't the right time. Maybe in a few days. I ain't scaling nothing yet. This is urgent, said another fella. Your life's in danger right now. Where's that happening? I asked. Warren's Bob, pirate heir loved by the locals, is claiming the throne. I said I'd just clock him over the head and be done with it. But my foot was thumping so hard I saw stars. Egmont got real stern and said I had to scale the law. Warren's Bob might already be on the island. What tavern he eatin' at? I asked, all fired up. He's hiding in a native hut somewhere on a nearby island. He's clever and a world-class villain. Well, I ain't no mutt myself, I said. When it comes to fighting, I'm good. But I was half fainting from the foot pain. I mean the shoe pain, correction noted. Then Egmont said, according to tradition, your majesty is only the true sovereign once you enact a law that we scale. Until then, you ain't the island's eternal ruler. Well then, I said, to make it official, I shall now enact a law on a new form of crown council. They all looked confused. Egmont looked like someone punched his nose with a scroll. You know, I went on, the King of England, when I was his guest, gave me advice. Said 2 things are key, thrift in cigarette rollin' and casualness in cabinet meetings. Egmont's eyes narrowed. The rest stared. The King of England told me, I said, in his country, the Lord Mayor sits on a wool sack when sworn in. It's kinda like scaling. So I declared, I too want no stiffness here. Let's talk state stuff without court stiffness. And we symbolize this by, starting today, holding council barefoot. Big silence. Egmont jumped up, but I couldn't take it anymore. The shoe had to go. Down with the infernal contraption. And I shouted, as king, lead by example, in socks. Off with the shoe. Down with that hangman of a boot. Before they could speak, I yanked it clean off. And then the most glorious moment of my reign began. A full 2 minutes of pure bliss. No pain, just socks. They didn't get mad like I thought. In fact, the bridgeman stood up, unlaced his own shoes with ceremony, and said, this will be a noble and educational law, a symbol of casualness in state affairs. Everyone took off their shoes, even Egmont, though you could tell he was steaming. Then they brought the scroll, I stamped it, and the council scaled it into law. From now on, all crown councils are held barefoot, starting today. Correction, henceforth initiated. I might pass another law about mandatory brandy drinking during meetings, but I'll mull that one over. A king must rule with wisdom. I hope my actions so far have served the people's good. Then I stood up, shoes in hand, and said, This council is hereby adjourned. I depart first, as an example. Farewell. And off I went, but I pressed my ear to the door afterward. I'm real nosy. Someone said, Sir Egmont, His Majesty's behavior is unusual. I agree, said another. Egmont replied, His Majesty's still a child. And sadly, he fell during polo in England. I can now reveal the grim reports I received back then. He hit his head. The doctors said it would affect his reign. The diagnosis was clear. Diagnosis means brain trouble in foreign lingo. So that's Egmont's trick. That whole fallen off the horse story, hogwash. He's saying it to cover up the fact that someone might have guessed I ain't the real king. But how'd they know? I heard Egmont say, if it gets worse, the council, authorized by the Queen Mother, may appoint a regent prince to act as guardian. That's when I slipped away, shoes in hand, and headed to my chamber. The footman was tidying up, and I asked, what shoe size are ya? He says he's a size 45, nice number, same as mine. I go, can't you see I'm holding my shoes? Take off your shoes at once. During Crown Council, shoe wearing is officially suspended. So he right away pulls off his big snow white shoes, and I tell him, put them down and get out. And soon as he turned his back, I snatched those beauties up. Snow white shoes look just perfect with my cherry red gold trimmed gorgeous uniform called Marshal type or something official like that. Then I slipped down the side stairs, nice and sneaky, all the way to the castle's back gate where a guard was marching up and down and up, back and forth like some kind of wind-up soldier. He was saluting and I was strolling. 'Cause what's the point of wearing a glorious uniform like this if the public don't even see it? I walked down the hill, saw signs of the old days when this was a busy port. Back then it was a public-private company town. Big ships docked. Now it's all silence and moss. Saw a little booth labeled Wagon Lights. Copied it exactly. It was like that fairy tale with my colleague, Sleepin' Rosie, who snoozed royal, and the whole palace got webbed up by the teeth of time. Then I saw a shack that said, Instant Photos. But this place wasn't cursed. Strange, huh? The window had pictures, the door was open, even though the mini train station nearby had caved in long ago. In the doorway stood a blonde, scruffy, watery-eyed man, mid-40s maybe, wearing a brown suit, toothpick in hand, full-on glasses. He saw me, tipped his hat, and said, bored, "Good afternoon, Your Majesty." Kept picking his tooth. I stepped up. "You there! What you doing here, subject of fate?" "I'm picking my tooth, sire." "I can see that. How's business?" "Someone comes by now and then, sire." "Who would come?" "Well, last year a fisherman caught a huge fish, got it photographed. 2 years ago, I pulled the drunk harbor captain from the water. He falls in a lot, and he had me take a family portrait, just him and his dog." "Then photograph me too." "With pleasure. Then I can call myself royal photographer." "I don't mind," I said. But inside I got startled. There sat an old lady, looking like death herself. White hair, gray face, silent, just staring. She helped the guy set up the shot. He took my picture in a royal pose, revolver in hand, ready to fire. "What's your name?" I asked. "Furman, Henry Furman, the ladies' Madame Pensier." "You always been a photographer?" "Number used to be CEO, shipping and railroads. But when Alvarez left, my shares crashed. And I crashed with them. So then I hurried, let the people see the outfit. Made me real happy, them big roomy shoes, down to the city. And boy, what a spectacle it was. Folks gathered round, shouting and cheering. They were so happy it was wild. The drunk harbor captain fell into the water from pure amazement. Had to be rescued. He can't swim. And in the taverns, 'cause I went in for a bit of rum, I spoke in my royal voice. "Hey, barkeep! The whole empire's drinking on me tonight." The harbor captain dropped to his knees. "Long live the king!" Everyone agreed. So I raised my glass high and declared, "From this day forward, I'm on a first-name basis with the population. Cheers, people." And they all yelled, "Cheers, King." We drank, we hugged. "Long live the king, down with Warrens." They kept chanting, like 200 of them. So we drank again. I played the zither, sang the song Lulu when I returned from Fiji. They all patted my uniform and laughed and cried and kept saying, "Long live the king." Then, suddenly, Sir Egmont came galloping in with soldiers. He was in a fancy carriage, jumped out all pale and panting. Well, that was the end of the party. I didn't even try to argue, just headed back. But man, what a send-off. They roared again and again, "Long live the king!" "Your Majesty," said Egmont as the carriage rolled, "what you did was a mistake." "Mistake? Is it a mistake to be loved by your people? Look behind you, uncle of mine, who I know from way back." And I pointed. The people were still waving after us, lighting torches, singing, full of joy. 'Cause they drank cheers with their king. And here, that's a huge honor. Counts for a lot. We rolled past the cursed old railway tracks, heading out far. And then, bang! A shot rang out. The bullet whistled right between me and Egmont. An assassination attempt. The soldiers galloped into the bushes, swords out. I wanted to chase the bastard too, but Egmont held me back and the carriage sped off. "That's why it was a mistake, Your Majesty," Egmont said. And this time, he might have been right.
To be continued.